Brew Wednesday, everybody. It's gonna. Oh, it's a good sound. Cracked one of my pale ales that I brewed a few months ago now. This is like an epic clone. 100% Cascade. It's drinking pretty good too. Not the clearest, but some of those hops are starting to just die off a little bit too, but still pretty good beer. Anyhow, this week, what did we get up to? Put on another brew, another American pale ale, using playing some different hops, some Chinook and some Citra hops, and also playing around with just some different malts and just making a slightly darker beer with just a little tiny pitch, a little bit of black malt in it. Just 40 grams to 20 litre brew, but just enough to just add a bit of depth of colour in there and flavour. Went out and did some more filming with the bottle, which is almost nearly complete. Planned to do the final filming on Sunday, but unfortunately it absolutely peed down here in Dunedin, so that was off. But we'll just go finish off that last little bit of filming there. And so this week I thought what I might do is show you a couple of additions to the brewery, some stuff have turned up, and yeah, just show you what's been happening and bits and pieces like that. Yeah, so let's start by having a little look at what turned up. Yeah, so been on the hunt for a fridge for a while now, and luckily enough I managed to, on the advice of Grant Baker, waited for the students to leave town, and guess what? Hey, what? Fridges come on sale, and I've been looking for the right size one, and finally won it on Trade Me, only to find out that I won this fridge off one of my students I teach. So, small world to me. But let's have a look at this fridge anyhow. Here it is here. Look. It's got a lock on it. They must lock their food from their other flatmates, something like that. But what was good about this fridge is up the top I keep all my yeast. Started yeast saving. And that's, if you haven't started yeast saving before, it's really good. It's quite economical. Down the bottom, it's the perfect size. It's got my keg. It's got my bottle in there at the moment, but it's perfect size for 4 kegs. So we'll turn that into a kegerator at some stage. And as you can see on the bottom, build a wee shelf. As you know, the shelves not particularly good at holding 4 kegs. So that's arrived, and just got to shut that fridge. And that's what's been happening. So so I might talk a little tiny bit about yeast saving tonight. And the other thing I was going to talk about is my dry hopping process. So yeah, anyhow, a lot of people don't actually use secondary as part of their fermenting process. Oh, neighbours just bought a camper van. It's squeaky. Anyhow, I do, but I use secondary, and I breaks. What I do is I actually transfer mine into. Sorry, a bit getting low. Transfer my beer into a corny keg. As you can see in the fridge. But what I actually do is I then dry hop it in the corny keg. And I like the corny keg system because I put CO2 in it and I can flush out the oxygen, so the chance of getting any oxygen in there are pretty remote. The process that I use, well, the thing that I use is this stuff here. Yeah, that's right, ladies' stockings. I know if you've watched Paul Wicksteed's videos, you know that Paul, he likes to use muslin with little, what do you call them, ping pong balls. I'm not a ping pong ball man. I'm a panty man. These things, I like them. I cut them up, get the wife to buy them, and you put your hops in it. They're expandable. Just put a bit of star sand first, and you can just tie them in knots. Really easy to tie in knots. And then what I do is Here's one there, you can see. So here's a wee piece of string, which is attached to inside there is a hot bag. And, I just leave them there 4 or 5 days depending on what kind of beer I'm brewing, and that's just my little technique for dry hopping. Then finally get a much cleaner looking beer. 5 days, pull the hop out, bang, more CO2 in there, clean it up, make sure there's no oxygen in there, and then some into the fridge to carb, or just condition even for another couple of weeks before I carb it. Find actually if I carb it, I have a tendency to want to drink it, so if I don't carb it and I don't drink it, more of a chance that it conditions and more of a chance that I'm not drinking green beer, which when you first start brewing everyone's guilty of doing. You just can't help yourself. So that's my little tip for the week. That's how I approach the dry hopping situation. Now the next thing that I'm going to talk about is I do a lot of real hoppy big beers, typical hop bill 200 grams, and what I find is that I end up with a lot of hops and a lot of wastage and trub and stuff like that. So I'm going to try a new technique. I've got a friend who works at a local tea bag company. I won't say too much more, but it's here in Dunedin, and they have this stuff here. It's the stuff that tea bags are made out of. So this is a bit of a waste cup, and gave it to me. So what I'm going to do is actually try and put my hops in here, and my hops will expand and use it like a tea bag. I'm hoping it won't burst. What's the worst thing that can happen? I just have to strain them out like I normally do. So I'm just going to try this. Yeah, see there. Try this technique and just see how it goes. Who knows? Might work, might not. Might be a waste of time, but hey, just give it a whirl, see what happens. So that's the other thing. The other thing is I've got some wooden bits and pieces down here that I found, and this weekend I'm going to try and build a thing for a stand for basically my malt mill, so I can grind my own malt. So I'm feeling like I'm always getting kind of complete, like getting into yeast saving my yeast. Got a beer in here at the moment. It's a wee nosy. Yeah. Is it bubbling? Yep. Cool. That's been in there for about 2 days. 2 days fermenting, and that's from yeast that I saved and brought back to life in my what's inside. Using my magnetic stir plate and conical flask. So I got that from All Grain, $120. I've already used 2 yeast now, so I've already saved $40. So when your wife and that, and when they buy new shoes and they tell you how much money they've saved, and it's not really how much money they saved, it's how much money they didn't spend. It's kind of a situation I'm in a saving mode, so once I've done 6 brews, in theory it's paying for itself, and it brings down the price of using premium yeast, and you're getting that extra flavour that is just fantastic. Yeah, so that's kind of some stuff that I've been up to this week in the brewery. But I thought what I might do is just give you a little snapshot of some of the video footage I did in the weekend. Obviously, until you get the beer bottle, you won't know what's on the videotape because I don't really want to publish it until the end, but you can watch it as it goes along and get a wee insight into the story of the bottle and the story of Dunedin, the story of beer. And of course, as the bottle goes around the country, other stories will be added to it. So let's have a look at that footage for this week. So here we are at the beginning of Hyde Street in Dunedin. It's a pretty famous street for drinking. Behind us is Eureka, and Eureka was one of the first places in Dunedin had Emerson's on tap, and now there's sort of it's all Moa. There's still Emerson's there, but it's part of the Moa domination. Painted the thing in Moa colours, and yeah, it's a bit sad really. But anyhow, Eureka's one of the 4 craft beer bars in Dunedin. There's Eureka, Tonic, Inch Bar and L Bar, and behind me is Hyde Street. Those things hanging off the power lines are shoes, and thought it would only be appropriate that we
show you around Hyde Street. It's iconic. It's where the Hyde Street party is, usually every year. 5,000 people in this little street. It's pretty crazy, pretty famous. Let's have a look. Let's go for a wee walk, eh? It's like a war zone, isn't it? Like something out of Bosnia. Look at that bike over there. It's got a petrol pump on it. One day they'll drink craft beer. I can only but imagine what happens at the milking shed. Gentlemen's Club. Got their own bar out the front here, built in. War on Terror. Yeah, I can only imagine what that means.
Yeah, so if you want to see how the video pans out, and if you haven't done so and you're interested in being involved in the beer in a bottle adventure, just leave a comment saying that you're interested in joining up to receiving the beer bottle at some stage and passing it on. So anyhow, I was going to talk about yeast saving this week, but I'll leave it to next week. It's getting a bit long. So cheers, happy Homebrew Wednesday. Catch you next week. See you later.